keep calling me Takei. And I correct them by saying it's actually pronounced Takei, but I don't object to the mispronunciation, Takei, because that's a Japanese word that translates into English as expensive. So I'd be more than happy to accommodate.
Yeah, that happens to me too, actually. You read my name on paper, it's like Kaiji Tang, but my entire family calls me Kaiji, so there's that weird disconnect every time someone says my name for the first time. So George, I know we're both kind of acting nerds, and I believe we both got our start in the theater. I'm always really interested in like actors' origin stories, or your first like real legit paid acting job,
My first acting job was a dubbing job. The film was this sci-fi monster film called Rodan. This was back in 1958. So one of the early Japanese films that were imported to the US, had absolutely no experience at dubbing English dialogue into a film where the actors are speaking in Japanese and you had to lip sync. And so I watched the other actors and I saw where they took a great big breath where they had to speak real fast in order to fill that space when the lips were moving. And then other points where they spoke very slowly and paid attention to the lip movements and tried to hit certain consonants on the button.
Yeah, I'm sure the dubbing process for Rodan was a little different than what we have now. I think back in those days, you just had to chase the entire film, but man, how far we've come. Now in the midst of Yakuza Like a Dragon, where when we were working, we barely had to even match the lip flap at all. The computer is doing some of the work for us now. We've come to this full circle moment in technology, and I love it.
So what was your first gig?
Yeah, so my first, my origin story acting paid gig moment was doing a tour of Midsummer Night's Dream in Riverside, California.
Bravo, doing Shakespeare.
I was playing Bottom, and I made a choice. I made an acting choice to punch the floor with gusto and passion, and I should not have done that. That was a poor acting choice. I suffered a boxer's fracture on my hand.
Oh my!
And I had to finish the rest of the tour with a broken hand because I'm a smart man.
You can really chew the scenery.
Yes, I would argue I chewed it a little too hard. So when I told my parents that I wanted to pursue acting, they had no idea how to react. And to their credit, they allowed me to pursue it the best I could. When I began to prove to them that this is something I could do, they allowed me to forge my own path in this country. So in a way, I bring that part of my life to Ichi's performance, the sort of part of him where he has to set out on his own, trailblaze, and sort of prove to himself more than anyone, even more than the father figure he really desires, that he belongs in this world and he can forge his own path.
So my teenage years were where I challenged my father, but I had a father who understood me and he gave me guidance and encouragement. It's this fraught, dense, complex relationship. Yeah. And so I bring that understanding of my own father-son relationship to the relationship between Arakawa and Ichiban.
Yeah, I think Arakawa is pretty much the highest tier of role model Ichi has to look forward to. He's everything that Ichi wants to be, and Ichi, he's so desperate to find that father figure that'll support him. I think it's a very beautiful relationship, both on paper and in practice and in the game. It's a very complicated, nuanced thing that very rarely you get to see, and it was delightful to be a part of.